Okay, here we go again. I've got a lot of stuff to get to, and I promise you out there that I do have 4 or 5 items of good news. Finally. I hate being so negative all the time. But anyway, here we go. This is the Midnight Skeptic. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Well, I was writing down a few last-minute items, as you can see on YouTube. However, the radio people can't see it. But, okay. Yeah, the views of the Midnight Skeptic, in addition to being the correct views that everybody should have, are not necessarily the views of Petaluma Community Access, although they should be, as I've said many times. This is show number 57, and it's being recorded, this is Wednesday, and it's about 2:25. And Mickey Huff has had his show already broadcast from 1 to 2, Project Censored. You ought to listen to his show, and it gets repeated over at Berkeley, KPFA 94.1, Fridays from 1 to 2. So, check him out. Okay, and send all correspondence that's meant for me to the Midnight Skeptic at gmail.com. I relish hearing contrary opinions to my own, death threats, hate mail, but then also, if you guys have any ideas about what I should be more talking more about, or items that I haven't covered in the past, send them to me. Okay, shout outs. Okay, all my international listeners via Anchor.fm, which also includes Spotify. The one that they're the people that essentially are a music agglomeration outfit, and then they distribute it around the world. But they've also lately been embroiled in the Joe Rogan foo-faroo. Joe Rogan's on Spotify, and they've paid him a lot of money to do that. I should be so lucky one of these days. Okay, international people, I've got a couple in the UK, a couple in Ireland, a couple in Germany, one person, I don't know whether he's male or female, in the Czech Republic, a couple in Australia, and a couple in New Zealand. I don't know, the total is, 10 or 12. Believe me, it's not many, but I do have international people listening to this stuff. Okay, the East Coast, Geraldine Goldfinger out on Long Island, down to North Carolina, Dave Rubin and his wife Vicky, and further on down the coast to Edgewater, Florida, Amelia Beamer, and then across on the other side of Florida, Nelson and Alice. And then going over to Arizona, in the Santan Valley area. It's right outside of Phoenix, about half-hour drive outside of Phoenix, is my brother Brandon and his wife Mina. and their daughter Andrea, who is a nurse. And please, Andrea, take care of yourself. COVID-19 has not gone away yet. And then down in Patagonia, Arizona, Karina Hilliard, the animal control officer of Patagonia. She's the snake removal technician. I guess they're plagued with them down there, and she is studying. I'm not sure whether it's herpetology. She considers herself a herpetologist, but I think she may be just studying biology or, biochemistry or something at Arizona State. Anyway, over to L.A., Jackie and Wayne Kolar. I'm doing this without any notes whatsoever, so I'm probably gonna miss somebody. Okay, coming up the coast from L.A., Pacifica, Stan and Kathy Gustafson, and then further on up to Sebastopol, Rich and Kathy Berger, and then across to Sacramento, Dave and Rosie Takach, and then I mentioned Mickey Huff. He's lives in the Sacramento area and commutes to his job at Diablo Valley College. And locally, Nariman and Tom and Nancy Throw, Yvonne Santos in San Francisco, Kevin and Lori Burke up in Cotati, Tim Conrad, ex-Sonoraite, who's a good photographer and has his works on display at various galleries at various times here in Petaluma. And then Sonora. Now that I've mentioned Sonora, I had almost forgotten the Sonora people. Bob and Sandy Fisher, Brad and Martha Fisher. Martha, take care of yourself. She's a nurse up there in Sonora. Darrell Larson, Judy May, Leonidas Maciel, Kathy Francis, and then down to Mexico City, Rosie Lopez Negrete. Hola, Rosie. She listens in every now and then. She's ex-Sonora. Okay. I promised you all some good news. Excuse me. We've got some cold weather around here now. Some of my fingers are, I guess, the circulation isn't quite what they should be because they're, tingly. Okay. All right, good news. The first bit of really, really good news. Okay. The Arizona Senate Health and Human Services Committee has rejected a bill that would ban medical care for trans youth in Arizona. And the original bill was introduced, of course, by Republicans. It's Senate Bill number 1138. It would have made it illegal for doctors to provide minors with puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and gender affirmation surgeries. Now, I've got to tell you that I have doubts in my own mind on this issue of gender affirmation surgeries for minors, meaning those under 18. I'm still wrestling with that question myself. But puberty blockers, hormone therapy, that should be between the kid and their doctor and their parents. If the parents are excuse me, if the parents provide unconditional love for the kid, yes, the parents, the doctor, the kid involved all should make the decision. Certainly not Republican lawmakers. Okay, and let's see, where was I? I'm off my notes again. The committee vote. Okay, now this is just a committee, and this is not the whole Senate. The committee vote was 4-4. Four for the bill, four against the bill. Well, how did that happen? Because there were 5 Republicans on this committee and 3 Democrats. Well, one Republican was touched by the words of some of the trans kids that came to talk against this bill. Okay, I'm off my notes again. 4-4 to pass it out of committee, so the bill is dead. One Republican, Tyler Pace, joined the 3 Democrats to vote no on this bill. The 4 yes votes, of course, they were all the Republicans. The speakers for the bill were all conservative Christians or MAGA-head Republicans. A Republican state senator, Wendy Rogers of Senate District 6, I don't know where that is, has a history of proposing anti-trans bills in Arizona. She is an avid supporter of the Orange Sociopathic bloat bag and a member of, are you ready for this? The Oath Keepers. She also spoke at a, QAnon political conference in October of 2021 that was being held in Las Vegas. Okay. But the good news part of this is, at least for another year, you don't have to worry about a bill, such an odious bill being introduced again in the Arizona State Senate. Okay, really, really, really good news. Okay, Dolly Parton's Dollywood Parks and Resorts has announced it will pay all tuition costs, fees, and books for all employees who pursue higher education. It includes all part-time, full-time, and seasonal employees from day one on the job. Dolly Parton is a damned real-life saint, and I went through a phase, I guess you could say, in my own life back in the late 70s, I guess, where I listened to country music. I even had a pair of cowboy boots. And I don't know why. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and that's not a hub of Southern country and Western culture. Excuse me, I need to lubricate my throat again. Anyway, I liked the music of Dolly Parton, and well, she was the main one that I really liked, and I still like her as a person, and she is a treasure in this country. But I just don't really listen to country music anymore. Geez, it's been 80s, 90s, 2000s, 50 years since I've really listened to country music. Okay. More good news coming at you. 2 students in Wentzville School District, that's in Missouri, have sued the district over the removal from the library of 8 books, including Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. The ACLU is helping these 2 students with their lawsuit. Okay, and the Wentzville, Missouri, it's in suburban St. Louis. Okay. Here in the Wentzville School District, capital Wentz Ville. Okay. Here, Wentzville has targeted and removed books that are from the perspective and viewpoint of racial and sexual minorities. Other books pulled for review are, and this term review, I got some finger quotes here. They just want them removed. They're not, the fact that they're going to remove, they're not fooling anybody. They just want them removed. Okay, these books are All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Heavy, an American memoir by Keith Laymon, Laymon. He's a black kid that was discriminated against, one, because he was black, and then two, because he was quite overweight. That's where the heavy comes in. So he got it from all sides. I haven't read the book. One book I have bought recently, like last week, is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Now, I haven't started reading it yet, but I intend to. And of course, Republicans, bless their evil hearts, are up in arms about this one book. And I'm curious myself to see, well, what's all the hubbub about? Well, it's probably nothing. Just like Maya Kobabe's book, Genderqueer, a memoir. I did read that one, and it's a graphic novel, by the way. And when I got to the one page out of 340 that upset Republicans, I couldn't figure out why are they so upset with this. It didn't show or describe or picture anything really out of the ordinary in a sexual sense. But there's one page. Jesus. Republicans are just creepy, evil, disgusting people. And my few handfuls of relatives and friends that are Republicans, I'm not talking about you. However, I am distressed that small handful of relatives and friends that are otherwise very intelligent and compassionate people have joined the Republican Party or gone over to the dark side. I just don't understand it. Okay, I'm riffing now, as you can probably tell. Okay, some of the other books. Lawn Boy by Jonathan Evison. Gabi, Gabi, A Girl in Pieces by Isabel Quintero. And then the last one, Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, Jewell. Those are the books that got Republicans all their underwear in a knot. Back in Wentzville. Okay. New topic. In 2000, a federal judge struck down a law in Wichita Falls, Texas, after the ACLU, bless the ACLU, filed a lawsuit challenging the removal of two books from the city's, get this, it's not a school, public library. Two books removed from the public library. Okay. And this is in the year 2000, so well, we haven't progressed very much since then, but uh, 22 years after this incident, the two books in question are, and they're kids' books. Heather Has Two Mommies. Okay? And then the second book is Daddy's Roommate. These two books dealt with gay and lesbian characters. Oh, we can't have that. We can't have that. Okay, so Wichita Falls, some Republican parents sued, didn't sue, but convinced the library to remove the books, remove any literature. This is what the parents wanted. To remove any literature that promotes or sanctions a homosexual lifestyle. The library received petitions from, of course, the First Baptist Church of Wichita Falls. And it's called the Altman Resolution of a Wichita Falls Ordinance. 300 library card holders signed this petition to remove the books. Okay, well, the ACLU got involved, and my research here on this wasn't finished, I guess. My bad. But I don't know whether these two books, Heather Has Two Mommies or Daddy's Roommate, have been reinstituted into the public library or not. I suspect that they are back there and causing Republicans heartache. They deserve it. Okay. I wrote some more notes about those two books. Okay, it just continued on the next page. Yeah. Okay. One of these years, I will get organized. Okay. As the culture wars of the 1990s heated up, Heather Has Two Mommies became a lightning rod. It was banned and challenged, the subject of public debate and railed against in Congress, our Congress, House of Representatives. In a typical 1993 attack, the Reverend Louis P. Sheldon of the Traditional Values Coalition said that Heather Has Two Mommies and Daddy's Roommate would bring God-fearing people together in a noble crusade against them. Well, the them is the two books. Religion has way too much influence in this country. And the religions that have the most influence, Baptists mainly, are the ones that shouldn't have influence. They're not a force for good. They're a force for, heartache and ill will. And, okay, all right, enough of that. I don't want to get off on a rant on this. I'll lose my place in my notes, and then I'll have to work to get back to my notes. Okay. All right. The anti-parasitic drug ivermectin failed to treat COVID-19 in yet another randomized clinical trial, as reported by the Journal of the American Medical Association, their internal medicine division. But the drug remains popular amid the pandemic thanks to Republican politics. and I'm taking this right out of the Journal of the American Medical Association's own site that I found online. There is, they say, a correlation between increased prescribing of both hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in counties across the country that voted for they don't put it this way, I'll put it this way, the orange sociopathic bloat bag. Okay, which brings me to America's frontline doctors. In late April of 2020, the Council for National Policy, or CNP, which is a vicious right-wing conservative networking organization, and the Tea Party Patriots formed a group to oppose anti-COVID measures like businesses and schools closures and lockdowns. This was before the vaccines. The group leadership included Freedom Works, another right-wing sociopathic organization, Adam Brandon. I haven't researched to see who he really is and what his background is, comma, Tea Party Patriots co-founder Ginny Beth Martin and Stephen Moore of ALEC, A-L-E-C. They, that stands for American Legislative Exchange Council. What they do is spend their time writing up potential legislation in right-wing controlled states and then giving Republican legislators these so that they can be introduced into state legislatures word for word, because of course the Republican politicians that are actually supposed to be writing bills have way too many important things to do, like golf or listening to representatives of drug companies and mining companies and oil companies and taking under the table money from them. All right. ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council, and all of these organizations are right-wingers. Anyway, Simone Gold, a quack doctor. She really is a physician, and she got her doctorate, from her MD. That's what I'm trying to say. From a I didn't write this down, and I can't remember where she got it, but she is a physician, and I'm telling you right now that she's a quack. Okay, Simone Gold, if by some chance you listen to this show, you know where I am. I'm not going to hide if you want to sue me or whatever. Okay. She formed America's Frontline Doctors to promote alternative medications to COVID-19, like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin. On July 27th, 2020, that's a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. This is before the vaccines, and Trump was in his heyday. The Tea Party Patriots hosted a quote-unquote white coat summit on the steps of the Supreme Court building. The doctors, which included Stella Emanuel, that witch doctoress from the Congo, who said that women's gynecological problems can largely be caused by dreaming about having sex with demons. That lady. Okay. Um, she's part of the this white coat summit. Uh, okay. Anyway, this group of doctors announced that hydrochloroquine and ivermectin and zinc would cure COVID-19 without any peer-reviewed uh, uh, experiments or okay. All right. So it's time for some more good news. I gotta take care of my throat here. Okay. Yeah. Quick time check. Okay. Half an hour gone. Good news. Good news. Good news. Okay. Really good news. The United States women's national soccer team has settled a lawsuit with the U.S. Soccer Federation. The women will henceforth get equal pay to the men's team and also will be paid $22 million for 61 current and former women's team members for back pay that they should have been getting all along. A 6-year court battle over equal pay. The suit was brought in 2016 by Carly Lloyd and 4 other teammates, Megan Rapinoe, Hope Solo, and Becky Sauerbrunn. Now, those names might ring a bell with you guys if you've been following, the World Soccer Tournament, the Olympics. They won them all. One big difference between the men's and women's national soccer teams, well, the women's team wins. Okay, that's the really big difference. The men's team has won about half their matches, maybe more than half their matches, but not enough to get them into the finals. But the women, gold medals in all the recent Olympics, World Cup soccer, women's have won first place. So they should have been getting equal pay from the very start, although for various reasons, misogyny being one of them, they were not paid equal wages. I think the thinking was that people like to watch men's soccer more than women's. Well, I dispute that, especially since the women win. I remember watching that, and I can't remember how long ago it was, 12, 13, 14 years, when we were playing China for the World Cup, the women's team. And, oh, geez, when I get off my notes here, I can't remember names very well, but that girl's penalty kick, and she made it, thus winning the game. And she ripped off her jersey, and she was on her knees there in her sports bra, and everybody was celebrating and having a good old time. Oh, boy. Brandy Chastain. That's who that was. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but it was a sight to behold. Okay. Coming off this good news, I have to, oh, geez. And this came out yesterday. Rick Scott, that horrible, malodorous Republican senator from Florida, He came out with an 11-point platform for the Republican Party for the upcoming midterm elections. Um, Mitch McConnell was asked at a press conference there at the nation's capital by some reporter, uh, should the Republicans win back the Senate or the House of Representatives? Oh God, what a nightmare that would be. Anyway, the reporter asked Mitch McConnell, "Well, what would your priorities be?" And he had no answer. He said, and I think I'm quoting him here, "Well, when we take over, we'll let you know." Okay, in the 2020 election, the Republican Party had no platform other than getting the orange sociopathic bloat bag reelected. That's all there. Really, you can look this up. It's hard to believe that the Republican Party could run a national election with a presidential candidate and not have a platform. But they did. If you don't believe me, look it up. Okay, well, comes Rick Scott. Okay. He revealed the GOP's election strategy: all culture war all the time. That's all he listed. And I don't have all 11 things here. I have some of them. Okay, number one, we will secure our border, comma, finish building the wall, and name it after Donald's orange sociopathic bloat bag. He named the previous guy by name, but I'm not going to say his name. Okay. Naming the wall after that creep. And that's what Rick Scott is proposing. Okay. Number two, a 25% cut in the federal workforce. Republicans in general favor a reduced government. Part of, and this isn't just now, this goes all the way back at the beginning of the 20th century. Republicans seem to feel that, to quote Ronald Reagan, government is the problem. So they're all in favor of cutting government spending, cutting government employing. I've got to apologize. I'm having a echo problem in my headphones, but that's why I seem to talk a little slower, and I'm kind of stumbling over my words. Okay. All right. Number three. This is Scott's words right in his suggested platform. Quote, "Men are men, women are women, and unborn babies are babies. We believe in science." Well, first of all, they do not believe in real science. They might believe in quote unquote Republican science, but this men are men, women are women is a direct slap in the face to the transgender community. And I know that the transgender community is a fairly small percentage of this nation's population. But that doesn't stop Republicans from bullying the group. And I've talked about this topic on a number of shows. And as harsh as this might sound to my listeners and viewers out there, I am believing more and more that the Republicans and their base, meaning Southern Baptists, would just wish that the transgender community would just disappear. And if that means transgender kids committing suicide, well, I really believe, as much as I hate to say this, that Republicans and Baptists would be happy with that. They'll never admit that, but I think in the back of their minds that is true. Well, I'm not going to issue any challenges for anybody to dispute that. That's what I believe. Okay. And they certainly don't believe in normal science. Okay. This has, what Scott's words here: men are men, women are women, and unborn babies are babies. We believe in science, blah, blah, blah. This has nothing to do with federal policy. It is pure culture war fodder. Okay. Number 4, all Americans should pay some income tax. Currently, over half of Americans pay no income tax. And who he's really talking about there are fixed income retirees mainly, and generally poor people. Now, not every retired person is poverty-stricken. I myself, I collect a small pension from 2 different industries that I retired from, and then I'm collecting my Social Security. Between all of that, I am just under the level at which I have to pay any taxes at all. So he's talking about me, and he's also talking about there's a lot of people in my situation, and there's a lot of people that are not of retirement age that are just poor. Let's put it that way. He's saying that everybody, regardless of their income, should pay some sort of income taxes. Okay. What did I write down here? Mostly these make too little annually to be taxed. Okay. Item number 5. A ban on CRT, of course, in schools. And the federal government has no authority in this area anyway. Rick Scott probably doesn't even know this. Americans, and this, I wrote a bunch of question marks by this statement. I'm not sure what he means by this. Quote, but this is what's in his paper. Americans will not be required to go against their core values and beliefs in order to conform to culture or government. I'm just not exactly sure what those blathering words refer to. Okay. I think it's vaguely a religious sentiment of some sort that it kind of harkens back to the state of Oklahoma's religious protection in schools bill. It's blasphemy bill is what it really is. Okay, teachers cannot say anything in their class that goes against the religious beliefs of any kid in the classroom. And again, parents are able to sue because of this. I think I went into that, if not the last show, then 2 shows ago. Okay, anyway. And here's the irony, and Republicans are just too dense to catch that this is ironic. This is number 6. Scott's document accuses the left of rigging elections and deplores the term voting rights. Oh, man. I got to take a quick sip to lubricate my throat. I urge everybody to actually Google Rick Scott's GOP platform to see what the other 4 or 5 platform planks are. Okay, this falls under the rubric of good news. Okay, I'm going to end this broadcast with good news. I swear to you, I am tired of talking about the orange sociopathic bloat bag and Republicans and culture wars. Oh, okay. General Barry McCaffrey, the 4-star general, Army general, retired, says, okay, and these are his words. I'm not, excuse me. I'm not sure exactly when he said this, but he said it. Reluctantly, I have concluded that Donald Trump, and I should have said the orange sociopathic bloat bag. I said I wasn't going to say the name Trump anymore, but I slipped. Sorry. I have concluded that Donald Trump is a serious threat to the national security. He is refusing to protect vital U.S. interests from active Russian attacks. Time check again. I'm getting there. It is again. Shoot. My notes. Okay, I got to improve my handwriting, among other things. It is apparent that he is, for some unknown reason, under the sway of Vladimir Putin. And, okay, this is said by Jennifer Rubin. And she's an ex-Republican. She's a political columnist for the Washington Post. She's been around for a long time, and I see her now and then on MSNBC, and she is no longer a Republican. I think she's a registered independent now, but this is what she says. Quote, every Republican needs to decide, are you on Team Trump and Putin or Team USA democracy? You cannot be both. All right? I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Okay. I wrote down here, good news to end with, but I've got a little bit of extra time left. So, on the next show, I'm going to go into the trans thing again. And this is ACLU News and Commentary. Transgender and non-binary leaders tell federal court trans people deserve joy at any age. Well, Republicans will never go for that. Okay. In 2021, Arkansas, oh God, Republican-controlled Arkansas, passed a law banning gender-affirming health care for trans young people. This discriminatory law would not only prohibit health care professionals from providing or referring trans young people under 18 for medically necessary health care. It would also allow private insurers to refuse to cover gender-affirming care for trans people of any age. If it is allowed to go into effect, the law will undermine the mental, emotional, and physical health of transgender and non-binary people across the state. Well, that's the whole point of the Republican politicians. That's what they want. They want to undermine the mental, emotional, and physical health of transgender and non-binary people across the state of Arkansas. Though the ACLU has won a temporary pause on Arkansas health care ban, the fight continues in federal appeals court and in state houses around the country, which is why trans stories are so important. While Arkansas is the first, and so far only, state to pass such legislation, similar bills have been introduced in over 30 states around the countries, all introduced by Republican politicians. And earlier in this broadcast, I talked about how a similar bill in Arizona didn't make it out of committee because of one compassionate Republican politician sided with 3 Democrats in the Health and Welfare Committee. So, for the time being, Arizona's trans community are safe from this. Okay. Let's see. How much time? Okay. A little bit of time left. An amazing 58 transgender and non-binary adults, including actor Elliot Page, activist Miss Major Griffin Gracie, media personality Jazz Jennings, State Senator Sarah McBride, and filmmaker Lily Wachowski have stood up in defense of ACLU's clients. They shared their stories in a Friend of the Court amicus brief filed by the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund. And Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen, and Hamilton, LLP, that's a law firm, in support of plaintiffs in the ACLU's case in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit. And that case is Brandt versus Rutledge. I don't know. I haven't researched this particular case, but on the next show I will be a bit more specific about this effort to sidetrack this odious Arkansas Republican-sponsored bill. And this ACLU article goes on to say, read their stories below about how gender-affirming care has changed their lives for the better. The hardships of gender dysphoria and the joys of transitioning. Well, Republicans don't want that. What hardships of gender dysphoria? Just decide you want to be a man's man or a woman's woman. And what joys in transitioning? You can't have joy in your life. That's the thinking of Republicans. All right. But, okay, so that's that. Okay, I said good news to end with. There's a marquee sign outside a United Church of Christ run by these echoes, run by Pastor Catherine Law. And I couldn't tell from the picture of this where it is. I would like to know, and I will try to find out by the next show. Anyway, on this church marquee out in front is the saying, "We'd rather see two men holding hands than two men holding guns." Hear, hear. Okay? So that about wraps it up for another adventure with the Midnight Skeptic. Let me play my out music, and we'll go from there. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. I can't emphasize enough the importance of petting your cat in these times of strife and Republican meanness and hatred. Please, with this election coming up this year in November, please vote out all Republican candidates, all of them. I don't know of any good Republican politicians. Just vote them out and hope that there won't be any adherents of the orange sociopathic bloat bag in positions to actually count the vote or run the elections in these states. It's just, I posted a quote from the Dalai Lama on my Facebook page, which if you follow my Facebook page, it's under Dave Murphy, Murphy. That's me. The Midnight Skeptic is my alter ego. But the Dalai Lama said, choose to be optimistic. It feels better. And I heartily agree with that sentiment. And with that, there's my 58 minutes. So I'll see you next week.